Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the discontinued Hazelburn 12, Dustin.
Rip.
2014 bottling, 46% ABV. What a beautiful bottle this is, Dustin. Got the 3 stills here for the triple distilled, unpeated Campbelltown. Why did they go away from this, Dustin?
You know, that's a great question. Now, the only guess I can really make, Mike, is they don't make a lot of Hazelburn, and I'm guessing they decided that this was going to be dropped so they could, focus on other production.
This is the cut. The old 12.
They decided to bring instead a 21-year-old out, I guess, a few years later. But mind you, they make 3,000 bottles of that, so.
But I didn't mention it before. This is 46, or the 2014 bottling.
And 46%.
And 46%. Those are all correct. When did you get this, Dustin?
I picked it up a few years back. Store, about an hour from me, had a couple of these, and I cleared them out. They had a couple different vintages. This one I could read the date on, so that's why we're going to do this one. The other ones are probably older, but I have no idea if the date just rubbed off or they never had one.
Yeah. We'll just say it rubbed off because it was so old. I like that better. That's
I like it better, yeah.
All right. Campbelltown whiskey, unchill filtered, natural color.
Unpeated, and these are sherry casks for sure, Mike. I don't know if it's all sherry, and I would assume it's refilled sherry.
Rich and funky.
And it smells beautiful.
Rich and funky. Goodness.
Maybe it's sherry funk. It's not even really Campbelltown funk.
I mean, it isn't peated. You know what I mean?
Correct, yeah.
I mean, just to be clear, unlike Hazelburn and the normal Springbank, this is not peated, triple distilled.
Long road.
Sorry, what did I say?
You said Hazelburn.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's literally right there as you're pointing.
Yeah. It's 4th of July. I've had a party 2 days ago. Went to another party last night.
It's been a good weekend.
Little off. America. And, all right.
Yeah, this actually is giving me a little bit of grape notes. It's sort of almost getting me into that Dimetapp note.
Definitely sherried. I do think there is, it's either heavily refilled sherry or there is some bourbon cask maturation because I do get a little bit of sweet vanilla that kind of gets dirty and funky, which I usually get from Campbelltown.
I can see that.
Yeah, if it's a bourbon cask.
I'm also getting a little bit of that like sour, like pineapple citrus, like wood note, which we get on Hazelburns when they're in bourbon casks as well. So definitely a possibility that this one is both. I looked it up at one point. I think I knew, but it's been a while. I mean, again, I haven't seen a new bottle of this in a long time.
Oh yeah, 10 years probably. I tell you what though, there is a very recognizable Oloroso sherry cask note. Like the Oloroso Hazelburn 15s and 12s have been coming out the last couple. There is a very recognizable sherry note compared to those other ones.
Yeah, no, but again, they're using really good sherry cask. This is not a cheap sherry cask. This is not one that has been overcharred. This is beautiful sherry.
This goes back to older Springbanks. That's what they are. I don't think the sherry cask maturation was any less quality. It's just not as much of the experience. Like the funkiness of old Springbanks, Hazelburns, and Long Rows. It's just the sherry's still there, but it's just so much funkier.
It's a different sherry cask, I think, too, Mike.
I'm sure they're different, but I still think it's Oloroso sherry. It's pretty similar.
I think they're getting these modern casks that are being charred, or they're trying to get darker color out of them. These had sherry in the cask longer. I think there was just a better cask.
Oh, this sherry's going straight to bubblegum now. Like Lagavulin Jazz 2015, or just any really super not overly overdone sherry. It's getting to that sherry bubblegum.
Now, for you sulfur guys, I don't know that this is sulfur or not, but I do get a little bit of a matchstick note. But I don't know if it's the sulfur matchstick or if it's just something like that.
It's definitely cask driven.
It's definitely from the cask, yeah. And it does give it a little bit of wood smoke in here as well, which I really, really appreciate. This has got a nice wood note here. It's not super sweet either, Mike. It's, if you're somebody who doesn't want a really sweet whiskey, this is not at all. This is very drying and neutral while still offering those nice sherry like fruit notes.
But how it gets there gives you two walls of two things. If you remove the funkiness, it would be. But the fact that it's really funky is the reason why it seems balanced. This is a good, strong sherry note. It's not the Oloroso's 12s and 15s.
But I don't think there's a lot of sugar notes in here. Like I don't get as much sugar. Some like whiskey, even Springbanks will have a bit more sugariness in the mid when I'm nosing in the middle. This one's very neutral. Like
I mean, I'm saying bubblegum. I'm getting Hubba Bubba sherry bubblegum here.
I get that note too, Mike, but that's like on the high end, which is pure cask. When I get into the malt's not coming off sweet.
Okay, I could agree with you on that point. I know what you mean now.
Yeah. And Hazelburns can be a little on the sweeter side than this.
Yeah, the crystalline sugar is other ones,
Yeah. Like there's no sugar cookie notes,
yeah,
for example.
you're right, you're right.
The malt is coming off very, I wouldn't say unsweet by any means, but just not as sweet.
Okay, so let me just put this caveat in. However you took that phrase, this is delicious. However it is we're breaking this down, this is a really well done Hazelburn.
And I'm trying to give people like an idea of how to explain, but I was going to say, yes, this smells amazing.
Yeah, this is an excellent smell.
Oh, yeah, I have really enjoyed these 12s. Like I said, I'm really glad I was able to pick up a few more bottles. Definitely paid a premium for them from what they were when they first came out. Or I guess the store I found them in, charged so much originally no one bought them.
Thank goodness.
Like, dude, these were actually in the glass case. Like, 12-year Hazelburns were like $70, $80 here originally. And I'm like, what are those doing in the glass case? And I saw the price. And I went, okay. It's still a little low for the case, but all right.
Now I'm getting a little bit of purple.
Yeah.
As I dig in deeper.
I got that hint of Dimetapp, man.
Man, that is beautiful.
The mixture of smokes and vanillins and the red fruits, a little bit of grape, a little bit of raspberry. I don't think I mentioned that. If I did, apologies. But really nice. I mean, again, the raspberry gives just a little bit of sour. I mean, it's got everything here. It is slightly sweet, but it's not like it's distinct sugars. It's just sort of nice, pleasant malt.
Oh, dirty funkiness, strawberry tartness. Then this goes into the sherry as soon as you swallow. The cask is imparted a good amount of oak spice and just smoke in general. And then here, just on the long linger, here comes back that funkiness mixed with that bubblegum sherry. Like, man, this is a super well done whiskey. Yeah, the tart strawberry too right away was just something. Maybe a tart strawberry with a little bit of vanilla cream or vanilla icing or something like that. Man, that's a good one.
So I was more tart raspberry, but yeah, tart strawberry, raspberry. It's almost strawberry on the finish and raspberry up front. Initially, I was starting to question the funk note you made because it was so raspberry forward, and then after the raspberry goes away, yeah, it's nice and funky. There's a little bit of smokiness here, and I'm thinking maybe these casks held Springbank before they had Hazelburn, and it's imparted just a little bit of, the peat phenols. So
I was going to say, this comes off, there's a twin, and it has to be oak smoke. It has to be from the cask, let's put it this way. But Justin, I had not considered that because I want to say, like, man, you could, if I had this wine, you could confuse me. This is a peated whiskey, a very lightly peated whiskey.
Yes. I'm thinking that, or maybe this is like an early run after they ran Long Row and then they switched over to Hazelburn. That sounds like a crazy idea. Maybe it's Springbank to Hazelburn, and it left a little bit of peat note.
I mean, at some point you got to go from Hazelburn to something else, or something else had to come before Hazelburn.
Yeah, and so I mean,
they didn't clean it right.
They intentionally left it there to give it just a little bit. But yeah, I'm definitely getting a nice little smokiness that's from the cask, and a little bit I think has to be from peat sneaking its way into the Hazelburn. It's like when people dip they're dipping like from chocolate into peanut butter or something, and you get a little bit of chocolate in your peanut butter, or a little peanut butter in your chocolate. And it's always good when that happens.
There is so much here. If you're a Campbelltown fan, there is so much to like here.
Yeah, this has a lot of depth, a lot of complexity.
$70. I'd have bought that in a heartbeat.
But that
What'd you get it for? 40?
Oh no, I paid like $130 or something for these. Yeah, no, like back in the day, these were like $70, $80. God, dude, I mean back then it was $65 for a Springbank 10.
Back when I got Long Row 16s for $160, thought it was overpriced.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it just that era. But I guess the store that had these was asking too much from the way back in the day, and finally, the market had gone, and I was like, you know what? I really want Hazelburn. I can't recommend the price, but God, I want it, and I've been pleased.
I tell you what, for a 12-year-old whiskey, this is dynamite.
Yeah, it really is.
And 46, I'm not saying it comes off cast strength, but it's a strong 46 feel in the mouth. The viscosity's there.
The casks do a good job here.
Yeah, I agree. Thickening it up.
Yeah, I think they're giving it a good flavor. There is like kind of mid-palate note, where I'm like, I wish it was just a little richer. You know, that's probably me just wishing everything was 48 minimum instead of 6. But hey.
Doesn't come off gas strength, but it does well for 46.
Yeah, no. But you know, if you're somebody who does prefer an easy drinker, freaking this is it. This is right there for. This isn't going to be a tough drinker for anybody.
Nope, you like Campbelltown. This is you. This is you.
If you like sherry casks, I think in general, like as long as you don't,
you like a little dirty. It's a little dirty still.
Sure. I mean, if you only will drink Macallan 18 and Balvenie 15, and those are your only 2 sherried whiskeys you'll drink, okay, maybe not for you. But for anybody else who's into sherried whiskeys that get a little funkier, a little dirtier, a little woodier, I mean, come on.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Springbank like our channel, this is one that you would really like.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, you know, if you're like an Abuna guy, you're somebody who really is into like the Glenallachie stuff, like if you're into any of those sherry whiskeys,
as long as you're not wrong as a human being, you'll probably like this.
Yeah, if you like whiskey, you're probably gonna like this. To be completely honest, unless you're a bourbon only guy.
Yeah, we're just wrong.
That's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Bears fan, so I'm wrong half the time.
There you go.
I mean, this just smells even more beautiful with water in it. Now, I'm probably gonna be a little disappointed with the mouthfeel, but it's just, man, with or without water, I love nosing this whiskey.
Nope. I think it's honestly just pretty much very similar experience on the nose and the palate. The only difference in the palate really is it actually got stingier, bitier. Mm-hmm. And I'm enjoying that because I like a little extra. And the sting and bite's nothing crazy. It's just it added a little bit of a fun feel to the whiskey. I mean, that's really all it is. It's just a fun little bit more texture to the mouthfeel. The whiskey is just as good, I think. Yeah, it moved around a little bit. The smoke's a little more integrated. I mean, it did a few things that water always does with integration. But I guarantee if we let this sit for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's going to come back to being virtually the same as what we started with.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's like an equalizer. Some parts were up, some parts were down, but all the same parts are here.
Yeah.
I agree. With a little bit of water I put in, it really didn't change the viscosity much at all. It held up really well with water. It didn't change a ton, but it kind of, the sherry is a little bit juicier.
Yeah.
Again, moved a couple things around. I mean, there's no reason to call them this a 7 and this a 6 now, blah, blah, blah.
I feel like any kind of like this distinction here is just splitting hairs. It's really didn't move much. And again, I think if we were just to let it sit, let the water kind of fully move around, I think we'd get back to basically the same whiskey as we started with, which is a good thing.
All right, Dustin, whiskey score time. Your bottle, I go first. I'm between 2 numbers, and I'm giving it the higher of the numbers this time. I really, really like this whiskey. I'm at an 89. I'd pay $150, $200 for this bottle. This is everything that I like about Campbelltown.
Yep.
This is another example of, man, if you do it right and use good casks, and you have a really upper echelon distillate, Lagavulin, Ardbeg, Hazelburn, Springbank, you only need 12 years in good cask. That's really all you need.
With 89 as well for me, Mike. I even thought about a 90.
So did I. I thought about 2 scores. I'm like, I need to go one more. Don't even think about a 3rd score.
But I was like, if I give this a 90, I almost feel like I've got to go back and up the Hazelburn Oloroso casks.
Yeah, and Lafroig 25.
Yeah. Excellent whiskey. Yeah, honestly, I mean, when I'm out of the bottles I have with this, which thankfully I do have more than, I got a couple, I would probably consider 250 just to have one in the collection.
I have a hard time. If there was one out there for 250 and I saw it in the store, I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah, $150 all day for this. 200 probably isn't a great value, but I'd still say I'd do it.
If you're a Campbelltown fan, pay $200 for this if you can have a chance.
I don't know, guys. Let us know. I haven't looked at these in auctions, and I know auctions are really low these days on Hazelburn and Longrose compared to where they were about a year ago. Not historically low, but compared to about a year or 2 ago, they're definitely down. So you might actually be able to find one of these for a fairly reasonable price if you're inclined.
Those are our thoughts on this particular Hazelburn 12 from back in 2014, the discontinued 12. They do put out a 12 every once in a while. It's just a little Rosso 12.
Yeah.
So like the age statement's dead, but the regular 12-year-old release, at least for now,
no longer core, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Which is too bad. 10, 12 years old is a great age for introductory whiskey. I don't care what distillery it is.
Yeah.
Like, let's see what you got.
I mean, this honestly, I think is a step above any introductory whiskey I can think of right now. This would be the best 12-year-old whiskey on the market, not cask strength.
We gave it an 89.
Yeah.
For a 46% ABV whiskey. That's a strong statement.
I mean, again, I think this is better than the Springbank 12 cask strength. It's just not cask strength, so, it loses points there.
Right. Let me ask you this, just throwing it out there. Last 2 or 3 years, Longrow, local barleys. right?
I gotta say,
It's that good.
it's flavor wise, it's right there and probably better.
Probably better. If I was drinking a bar all night, didn't matter. I'd probably drink this.
Yeah, again, those are cast strength. This isn't, so that's your big distinction. But,
That's it.
and you know what? I'd take these over the 10-year PX and Palo Cordata for a daily sipper. The PX has got like that fun, just intensity that I kind of might linger to, and I think I gave it a higher score. But this is probably a better whiskey.
This is far more complex and a better whiskey, for sure.
I gave that one a high score based on fun, not based on objective scoring. So
go back and look at that one if you dare. Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this Hazelburn 12 from 2014, let us know what you guys think, or any of the old Hazelburn 12s. I don't know, they're probably pretty consistent, but we'll if you have a couple more, we'll take a look at it.
do another one for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, those are our thoughts. If you guys had a chance to get and try this one, let us know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, wish the folks.
Happy discontinued drinking.
We'll see you then.